In these problems, we're doing a little bit of work with absolute value equations and solving for x. And there's a little trick for solving these equations. When you have something like this expression inside these absolute value brackets, what you want to do is isolate that on one side of the equation first, and then we actually have to break the thing up into two possible different equations. So to isolate this chunk right here, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides to begin with. What that leaves me with is, inside the absolute value brackets, 5/7 x plus 5 equals 10. Now, once I've got the absolute value isolated, I can remove the absolute value brackets and break this into two equations, one where the other side is positive and one where it's negative. So we get this equation, 5/7 x plus 5 equals 10, and then we get this equation, 5/7 x plus 5 equals negative 10. And then we're going to solve both of them. So I would subtract 5 from both sides. I would get 5 equals 5/7 x. And then I want to divide both sides by 5/7, which is the same thing as multiplying by 7/5. And 5s are going to cancel, and I get x equals 7 over here. And over here, I subtract 5. I get 5/7 x equals negative 15. Do the same thing, I'm dividing by 5/7, which is the same thing as multiplying by 7/5. So I'm going to get a negative 3 times 7, so x will equal negative 21. So those are our two answers, and then with absolute value, you probably want to just plug them back in and make sure that they work. So let's plug in a 7 here. If I put in a 7, 5/7 times x is going to be 5. That would be 5 plus 5, that's 10. Plus 3 is 13, so 13 equals 13. That one works. Let's put in our negative 21. So 5/7 times negative 21, that's going to be 5 times negative 3, that's going to be negative 15, plus 5 is negative 10. When I take the absolute value of that, it's a positive 10, plus 3 is 13. I get 13 equals 13 again. So I've double checked. So those are our two solutions for this one. Let's try one more. This looks a little bit stranger because you've got absolute value on both sides of the equal sign, but we're going to handle it the same way. In this case, we don't have to isolate anything. We've got absolute values isolated by themselves on both sides of the equation. What I'm going to do here is just remove the brackets and make two equations the same way we did before. The first one, just leaving everything positive, or the way the signs are now. And the second one, 4x minus 6 equals the negative 2x plus 2. And then we'll solve those two equations. So let's solve for x here. I'm going to subtract 2x first. I get 2x minus 6 equals 2. I'm going to add 6. I get 2x equals 8, or x equals 4. And on this one, I want to distribute that negative sign, so I'm going to get 4x minus 6 equals negative 2x minus 2. I'm going to add 2x to both sides. I get 6x minus 6 equals negative 2. Add 6. I get 6x equals 4. Divide by 6. We get x equals 4/6, or 2/3. So my two answers are x equals 2/3 and x equals 4. Again, what you'd want to do is take each of those and plug them back in and make sure they work. In this case, they do. And that's how you do these equations with absolute value.